Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, we know that the Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney fight has fallen through. That fight is no longer going to occur. Ryan is going to pursue a fight with Rolly Romero, which, to be quite honest, is probably a smart business decision. A lot of people don't like the fact that Ryan decided to go in a different direction. But he's right in the sense where he says that Devin will be there. That fight will be available to him. And that fight is absolutely going to be harder than a Rolly Romero fight. And when you think about Rolly, that's an opportunity to win a title, because I think O'Harry Davis is now out of the picture, period. I think that'll give. Exactly. So I think that gives Rolly the opportunity to face someone next, like a Ryan Garcia. And it just makes sense. Ryan gets the opportunity to win a title, but not only that, I think when he goes back to the negotiating table, my guess would be that Devin Haney tried to hang his laurels on the fact that he is a champion currently, and that makes him the A side. When in reality, Devin Haney has not necessarily sold, and I get it. There's a fair argument that can be made in regards to Ryan Garcia and the fact that, you know, he's only been on pay-per-view once. He hasn't been on it before Tank. He hasn't been on it since Tank. And that he hasn't filled an arena. But I would say that Ryan Garcia hasn't fought in his hometown, or at least a hometown that he can claim as his own, like Devin Haney has. And let's face it, that pay-per-view did not do well with Regis Prograis. So regardless, Ryan Garcia was a part of the biggest pay-per-view event in 2023. It's hard to ignore that. I don't believe Devin is the A side regardless, and being a champion alone doesn't make you the A side. So where does Devin Haney go from here now? So we heard Eddie Hearn mention that he may now go ahead and face Sandor Martin and defend his WBC title. Personally, I'm not interested in that fight. Devin says he wants to make the biggest and best fights out there. I think one of the biggest and best fights out there, in my personal opinion, is Subriel Matias. But it doesn't seem like anyone has his name in his mouth other than Teofimo Lopez. That's an opportunity for Devin to really prove himself at 140, beating Subriel Matias, who I think would be a really good test for him. And I think Regis was a really good test for him as well. Don't get it wrong. But at the same time, I thought Regis was somewhat tailor-made for him. So that would be a better option than Sandor Martin. But Hearns also mentioned that Devin may decide to move up to 147 pounds for a big money fight there. Help me understand, who is the big money fight at 147 pounds that he could actually make?
No, there isn't one.
There isn't one, in my personal opinion. Because you're not going to be able to make the Terrence Crawford fight. My guess is he's not interested, and I think that would be career suicide for Devin. Because I think Crawford would smash him, in my opinion. And this is not disrespectful to Devin Haney. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Devin Haney. I just think that I don't think he'll be able to deal with Crawford.
There's still levels to it.
Boots is also there, but that's not a big money fight. And again, I think that would be detrimental to the career of Devin Haney. Spence is definitely not going to fight him again fight at 147 again, unless it's Terrence Crawford. He's going to move up to 54. So I don't understand the comment that he may decide to move up and fight at 47. Jay, what's your thoughts in terms of the next move as it relates to Devin Haney?
I mean, if he were to move up to 147, you know, you just talked about Spence. We know Spence not fighting at 147. It wouldn't make sense for Bud to fight him. Like you said, it'd be career suicide in your opinion and mine, for him to fight Bud. Him and Boots, it's not gonna sell like that because they're not known like that. The only other person at 147, I guess he might be hunting, would be Keith Thurman. Inactive, been in, you know, he has a name, but again, it's not gonna be a big fight. No one's asking for that fight neither. So for me, if you're just gonna fight one of them, you know, if you want to fight for legacy and just have someone's name on your resume, you know, you can fight Keith Thurman. I don't know how well that will fare for your knee but you definitely don't want to fight a Bud. You don't want to fight a Boots. You can have their name on a resume, but you don't bring any value to either one of those guys, especially at 147. So staying at 140, fighting Sabril Matias, the boogeyman of the division, it seems is right now. I think that'll be your best bet because you're just improving your resume, and you're at your same weight class, and you have a better chance to fight when beating him, I believe, versus Bud. You're not beating Bud. You're not beating Boots, in my opinion, neither. Keith Thurman out of the ring for a long time, but he's a smart fighter. He's a crafty veteran still, so he'll create a lot of problems for a Devin Haney. But again, if you're looking for the best fight for you is to stay at your division and fight Sabril Matias, I believe. I don't see him moving up to 147 for anyone else.
Keith Thurman is an interesting one. We know that Thurman has been in their mouths. There seems to be some level of interest in facing Thurman. My guess would be the reason why they're interested in facing Thurman is the performance of Barrios against Thurman, and believing that they would have the ability to outbox Keith Thurman because Barrios was able to perform so well. Now, I think that the difference is, number one, Barrios, I think, has more punching power than Devin Haney. I know Barrios has more punching power than Devin Haney that Keith Thurman had to respect. And not only that, yeah, and he's taller. But not only that, we've seen Barrios, and we've seen how Barrios has performed recently against Ugas. That would, to me, let us know that his performance versus Keith Thurman and his performance versus Ugas would suggest that he's a much better fighter at that weight class than what we thought he was going to be. And maybe the loss to Gervonta Davis is more of a reflection of how good Gervonta Davis is and less of a reflection of Barrios' skill set, now that we've seen him against Ugas. So I don't know if that would truly be a good fight. I don't think Devin has anything in his arsenal to keep Keith honest in terms of attacking him. But Keith is now an older fighter. So, but there's a reason why I don't believe that fight would occur next. And we'll do that in another video in regards to Keith Thurman. But I'd be interested in seeing what direction Devin Haney goes in now. In my personal opinion, he should have really focused on that Ryan Garcia fight and tried to force that fight to occur, even if he had to take the B side, because that was a big money fight, and I think it also would have positioned him to make some noise again in regards to Gervonta Davis moving up and facing him. So to me, taking the B side on that fight would have been smart, but it is what it is. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to Devin Haney and what's his next move. Should he face Sabril Matias, Sandor Martin? I know Sandor Martin is his mandatory, and maybe that's the direction he's going to go, or move up to 147. I think that's a challenge for him in regards to getting a big money fight, and then there may be some fighters there that could give him some serious issues. So we'll see what ends up happening with Devin Haney in his next step. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, M Sports Media, and we are out.